Hello everyone, this is In-Game Arts with another box and another offline product game review. This is Neon Apex Beyond the Limit for the PlayStation 5. Now just before we hop into it, I do need to give a warning, and that is a Caesar warning, that this game has extreme flashing of black and white at quick intervals, and that only happens when you complete and beat a race, and the game will give a quick flashing of white and black. Sadly, that is quite even jarring for me when it happens. I did get used to it, but if you're someone who suffers from seizures or epilepsy, just keep that in mind about this game. Now, or if you know anybody or you're just watching this video at random. But do keep in mind, when you do update the game, they did fix this issue and remove that problem. So just, that's good, but on disc, there is a severe seizure warning. I will be showing it in the video, so just bear that in mind. But to jump into the game, the on-disc version is 1.0.0, and sadly there was an update available. This update size was 350 megabytes big, and will take you to version 1.0.3, so it's the time to make this video. Now, like always, I play all my games completely offline with an unregistered account. I can't say my experience was 100% flawless, but I was able to fully beat the game with no updates, and I was still unlocking trophies with my unregistered account. Now, this game really caught my attention because it was only available in the PAL region. If you're wanting a physical copy, it's only available in the PAL region, and it's only on PS5 and the Nintendo Switch. But the overall aesthetic really caught my attention. It definitely looked like a smaller, lower budget indie game. And the game, while relatively ran pretty good, there were some hiccups and oddities and some directional aspects that just seemed very off the wall. But overall, it is your simple bread and butter racing game. You do have a career mode, a story mode, an arcade mode, as well as two-player split screen mode. And while there is a time track mode, that mode is online only, and do keep in mind there is only one trophy for that mode. I was going to be able to platinum this game, but there's one trophy that is like for the time track mode, and that is an online trophy, so I could not be able to platinum this game. But I did 100% complete everything else in the game. Now, the overall experience is your bare bone kind of game. You kind of starts with your character. You can pick who you want to play as, and then you'll be able to slowly unlock more cars and more motorcycles. You buy these cards that allow you to slowly build up more like upgrades for your vehicles and your motorcycles. You can change the color and then mine nitrous or fix your vehicle. Now, the oddity about fixing your vehicle is that you can fix it at any moment, but you have to leave the main game and go to the store and buy this card to fix your car or motorcycle. What's funny is if you blow up your car in the middle of a race, you can almost get a free repair. So like just before you're about to lose or about to win, or you know you have a good lead, blow up your car just before you win, and that way you can pass a lap and you can save your money on repairs. It's a little finicky how it's interjected into the game, but I understand what they were trying to do, where a vehicle could get a severe amount of damage and it stays on that vehicle, and you might want to try a different vehicle. Now, in terms of the experience, it's all just racing games. And while the game is very limited in terms of its scope and overall aesthetic, the game is still good. Like, I didn't hate the experience. It was still fun. It was enjoyable as your average kind of racy, arcadey style game. The only thing that's going to really draw people away is that the tracks are very generic looking. They all look the same and feel the same. There's no variations between them. They all just feel like the same track, just named different turns. As well as that the character models. The character models are very unattractive. Now, oddly enough, the characters you pick between the career mode and as well as your selected character are different from the story mode characters, which the story mode characters look way more better and more interesting, which I'm still confused. Why didn't they just use those character models for the career mode or your select mode? But what's also interesting is that I guess the developers realized that the characters weren't that appealing, because if you do download this 350 megabyte update, they completely overhaul most of all the characters you get to select. I won't say they're vastly better looking, but they are better compared to the default they give you on disc. But is more frustrating is that on disc, it is the base vanilla version, but if you look at the cover art and the back of the cover art, it shows you like a little preview of the game. One of the newer updated character models is on that back of that cover art. And what's frustrating is that means that they knowingly had this update version of these characters or updated game, and they just knowingly printed a outdated version of the game on disc, or I'm not really sure how you would have an outdated version, but you're showing the back, the newer print version of the games and the characters. I just thought that was very interesting, a little disappointing that they just, I don't know, put a lesser version of the game on disc. But anyway, on to the game. There are some oddities here and there. First off, small text. There is some small text information like your laps. It's kind of hard to see. It's on the top left corner where your position. Right below that's how many laps there are you've done. It's really small and you have to focus on it. It takes your eyes off the track. And it's really small on there, especially at high speed moments in the game. As well as certain little text moments or vehicle upgrades, the small little bars and stuff like that. All the little text and information that is pretty valuable information is too small in my personal opinion. As well as that, it takes you a while to get into a race. And it's not because it takes a long time to load, is that they have a lot of like cinematic stuff going on. You have legitimately, if you do a normal career mode or you go into a normal race in career, sometimes you have to push X 4 times to skip 4 kind of special introduction moments before you can actually start racing every race. It was very frustrating. It seemed like a poor choice of design where you have to keep pushing X, and it's not like they wait for it to happen. You have to push X to get through it. It would just linger there. At least it lingered there forever for me. Maybe it goes away after a while, but man, it's stayed there for a while. Next one is that when the vehicles are in front of you, they like are boon to boost or nitrous and stuff like that. They have a lot of static and a lot of electricity effect going on, and a lot of flashing text. It sometimes can be disorienting and confusing to see what in front of you and be able to react accordingly. It was a little frustrating in that area. I think they could have done a little better, especially the font. Like this says, final lap. It's like right in the middle of the entire screen, and it's very obscures your vision to be able to see it, like an oncoming traffic or something like that, or a boost pad. Now, another weird thing is that on career mode, you eventually unlock special modes, and there is a fight mode as well as a takedown mode. And boy, oh boy, we'll get to that fight mode in just a second. But the takedown mode is where you have to chase a computer or AI, one of them, and try to keep ramming them to get them to blow up, and that is the challenge. The problem is that eventually on a higher difficulty or on a higher like tiers of levels, once I got around 5 or 6 in the tier level, it was near impossible for me to able to take them down. They have so much life and so much damage resist that I can't even barely get them down to half before I finally reach the end of the track, and I can't take them down. So it was eventually just completely stonewalled me on that. I could not progress in that way. And moving on to the fight mode. Now, this is a fighting game too. Not only that, it's a special stage mode where you get to play a kind of like a Mortal Kombat-esque style kind of fighting game. It is so damn clunky and so frustrating that eventually I just gave up trying to do anything with it because I'm not good at fighting games. And did the developers really think people were gonna spend all their time on a racing game to learn to do combo fighting moment in the game? I mean, I give kudos to trying something wacky and weird, but boy, oh boy, it feels more like the developers were working on something and they scrapped it and they just transferred it over here so they didn't lose all that work and just interjected into this game because it's stiff, it doesn't feel rewarding, and it just feels very awkward to use. But thankfully, you can, if you just keep playing them and losing them, eventually it will unlock more races for you to do. So don't feel like you have to do them. Next one is that at random moments on the road, I will just randomly stop. Like there's like some wall in the middle of the road. Now, this only happened few and far between, but there was a few times I was just driving and then suddenly the car just completely stopped. The only thing I could think of is that computer hit maybe a car of traffic, and it got jammed into the ground, and when I hit it, it was like somewhat clipping to the ground, and I just completely stonewalled. It did make me lose a few races here and there, but it wasn't so prominent that it ruined the game. It's just frustrating when it happened. Next up, see, computer, when they ram you, you just bounce around everywhere. This is one of those games where if the computer just slightly touches you, you're bouncing and swinging and rammed all over the place. It's very frustrating, and it doesn't really seem like it does much when you ram into the computer. Next one, there is some boost pads you cannot see. I think they're clipped to the ground, and I did see some boost pads above ground. So that was a little awkward there, but you was able to still boost on them, but at least for the ones that you can't see. I'm not too sure about the ones that are floating above the pad. I didn't really touch them too much, but that's another thing. Next up is that the game, if you start the game up by close out the application, reboot the game back up, it does an intro of like the Neon Apex Beyond the Limit intro. You cannot skip this intro. So if you close out the application, reboot the game up every single time, you will have to sit and watch that main intro every single time. And finally, the last thing is that the updates, like I said, they fixes that little bit of seizure warning, as well as it updates the character models to make them look a little bit more appealing. Overall, I did not hate this game. It did have its issues, and its characters are not very attractive in terms of their design, but I didn't hate the game. It still felt good to play. It felt pretty rewarding and challenging in its own part, though I did put the game on the lowest difficulty at one point because computer got so ridiculously difficult. But even on the lowest difficulty, all the way on 1, some of those higher challenges are still insanely difficult. So don't think it's just putting it on 1, you're just going to be able to breeze through the game, because computer was still very difficult. It's not a bad game. It's definitely a small little project from a small team, and it can tell. And it's not necessarily a bad thing. And I do wonder if some inspiration from this game was done from a movie called Redline, which was an anime movie. And it kind of has some of the aesthetics and some of the art directions. Seems like it was kind of what inspired from that movie. Check it out if you're interested. It's an anime movie called Redline. But again, it's a simple project, and I can see what they were trying to go with, some kind of anime racing kind of style game, and I can respect it for that. But overall, I can see a lot of people passing on this. For me, we still had fun. I did play split screen a little bit for my brother, and we still had a little bit of enjoyment. I still enjoyed 100% completing the game, and I even was going to try to platinum the game because I'm only like missing 3 trophies, but I stopped going for the trophies because I realized that the time limit track mode is only online only, and I play all my games completely offline, so I could not do that special challenge to get that last trophy. So I just gave up on doing all the trophies, but it's still good. It feels good to play. The overall art style is neat, though distracting at certain moments with all the effects that happens. I can see what the developers were going with, and the generic tracks, they do get a little repetitive, because there are some unique tracks in story mode. That's what was also interesting as well, is that they got a few interesting tracks in story mode, but the career mode and arcade mode, it does get a little repetitive, and just... Again, it's a simple little project, and I did enjoy it, and it still was able to beat it and 100% complete it. I did have some minor hiccups and oddities here and there, but it didn't ruin the experience. And like I said, it was still a fairly working experience. I just want to give the only real issues I have is the seizure warning when you complete a race, and it's all flashing these black and whites on the screen, as well as the character models are really unattractive. As I said, they fixed it with an update, but still it's not on disc, so that's irrelevant. To me, it's worth a look. If you're interested in arcade racers and you're looking for someone that's really like get buried and maybe overlooked and has a kind of a unique art style and presentation, I think it's well worth a look, because it's still a working physical copy, and it's different, it's unique for what it is. I mean, it's still just a racing game. And boy oh boy, even though I'm going to trash on the fighting mode in this game, I can still just can't believe they interjected some weird fighting mode in this game, because that's just really off the wall. But it's not a bad game. I didn't hate it, and I think it's well worth a look if you can get it at a relatively reasonable price. $10, $15, maximum $20. I think you could have a decent time with it, especially if you could play a little bit of split screen with your friend or family or loved one. So, and thank you all so much for watching. I will provide links in the description if you're interested in a copy. I say it's worth a look if you're interested in racing games or arcade kind of style games, or you're just looking to add an extra game to your shelf that's a little lower brow. It's not some big name game. It's just a game you can play offline and enjoy yourself in terms of an arcade racer. So again, thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you guys in the next box video. Bye-bye!